the the situation there with Chris. I know I'm not going to get into any details about his health, but is there a point going into the game where like this week, if you think he's just not got it, that you can pivot quickly, or is that something you're concerning yourself with, or is he 100%? I guess how would you kind of evaluate that? Because it seems like the last 2 weeks that's been a really big factor for you guys not getting anything going there, and he's obviously a big piece of that.
Yeah, I think Chris has the right mindset this week. I mean, I think he knows that it hasn't probably been up to par and up to his standards and our standards. And I think he had a great practice yesterday of being locked in, focused, detailed, and the same thing today. So you can always tell when a player, you don't have to always, beat it into him. He knows that it hasn't been good enough, and it's not to his standard. It's not to our standard. And I believe that he'll come out with a different mentality and the right mentality to come out here and play a really good game on Saturday night.
Just to follow up on that real quick with the struggles. I think Georgia, I think everybody kind of expected maybe that to be a really tough deal. And I don't know, Mississippi State was pretty good against the run too. Mm-hmm. Does that, though, not getting that kind of going, how much pressure does that put on Will and kind of factor into how he played down there in Starkville?
Totally. Our balance, you just lose your balance. And when you're not getting it going, when you turn the ball over on P and 10, on 1st and 10, and we had the ball for 5 minutes, I believe, in 40 seconds in the second half. And it was in one of those type of games that once we threw the picks and had the turnovers early in the second half, it becomes a throw game. Like going into the half, I wasn't planning on, throwing the ball, as much as we probably had to in the second half. You'd like to go into it. Obviously, you throw the pick before the half, which was obviously a tough one. And when you come out of the half, they go on that long drive. The defense holds them to 3, and then we go. And I believe that was when we, fumbled the ball, I believe, on that one. Then we go pick. And, and it just spiraled from there. And then you end up having to throw the ball for the rest of the game just to stay in it. So, yes, it definitely affected things. But I believe the turnovers really got us off of our balance.
John Hale.
Liam, it felt like Will had turned a corner in those LSU and Georgia games. What exactly happened Saturday, and how normal is it for a quarterback to be inconsistent at that point in his career right now, I guess?
Yeah, I think that Mississippi State does some things defensively in the back end that is very difficult to see from a quarterback standpoint. Like, they do a lot with their safeties, a lot of moving pieces. They got a little bit of a rush on us early, which, and when he threw a pick early, it just tends to throw you off a little bit. And we just weren't able to get him back. Like he's kind of responded a little bit over the last, few games. It just didn't happen this game, and he knows it. And it was one of those things where he had a pretty solid week of practice last week, but it wasn't as good as LSU. It wasn't as good as Georgia. The practice week, the preparation, just the footwork in practice, the execution, throwing and catching. So to say I was like shocked, no, because practice performance equals game reality. And that was the case last week for us. And that's on me to get fixed and to get him right. And he knows it. And I'm aware of it, obviously, or at this point. And we want to try to get him calmed back down and get our balance back and try to give him, easier throws early on. We take the shot on, after the targeting. This just wasn't probably a great call. We just got a chunk off the targeting call. I got to be a little bit more patient and run it. I was trying to take a shot there, which we did have. We were just a little late on it. And, I can help him out in that situation by just giving him an easier completion that early in the game specifically.
Barkley.
And going off of the quarterback talk, was there any mention of maybe putting Bo in toward the end while Will was struggling, maybe after the third turnover?
No, that was never a conversation at the time. I mean, Will's our guy. He's got to fight through that stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, how many starts has the kid had in his career? So, it's not as if we played perfectly around him to make that kind of decision at the time. But we wanted him, and he wanted to fight through it. And it's not easy to fight through that type of adversity. And he got a ton of live throwing reps, which he needs. And no, that was never a conversation, but Bo was definitely ready if his number was called, but that wasn't any dialogue we had on the sidelines as coaches.
And speaking of the third interception, what at that point in the game, what's that conversation like on the sideline to try to get him to calm down?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of conversation at times with Will. He can come off and know that he made a mistake, and kids make mistakes, and it wasn't a great play call. And at the end of the day, each opportunity that you have, we got to take advantage of, because we don't know when we're going to get it again. So the kid made a great play. If you look at the film, the linebacker makes a really good play. He shouldn't have forced the ball, but the linebacker made a good play and tipped it right to the nose guard, and we're in a tough spot right there. So he knows pretty quickly after he makes a mistake, and at times we'll say, hey, just let me go, just let me be for a minute, and I got to give him that space and allow him to calm down and relax.
Nick?
I might be mistaken, but I don't know if you all have been able to connect on one of those deep shots, those home runs in the month of October. Obviously, the defense has improved a lot. You're not going to see too many like that. But is there something else off? Or have the throws not been there? Is it communication? How would you dissect that problem?
I think that play was definitely a little bit of a miscommunication between, Wandell and not Wandell. Wandell ran a really good route. He beat the safety clean as a dream. That was a throw that we had shown the guys on Tuesday of some NFL teams hitting flatter angle of the throw. And when the bullets were live, it just didn't get done. And, at the end of the day, yeah, that's on him. He'll take that decision. He'll take that throw back every day. But I think I can help in that situation, especially once we got the momentum swing with the targeting call. Just don't get greedy. There's no reason to get greedy in that instance. Let's just get a good drive together. It's the first drive of the game. That was me being greedy as a play caller, and I can't put those guys in that situation again.
Hagan?
Looking forward to this week, what do you see as the biggest challenge that Tennessee will present, and what's your main focus to address that?
They're fast. They're definitely fast on defense. If you look at them from last year to this year, they've trimmed up, it looks like, on the defensive side of the ball. They're playing a lot more athletic body types, on the edges at the linebacker spots. These guys can really fly around and run around really well. They'll bring some edge pressure, which causes some issues, especially with how fast they are, and do a nice job with some of their stunts and twists. But this focus this week is truly about us getting better and us detailing our work, doing the right things. Every single play matters. Efficient. Get back to running the football. Get back downhill. Last week against Mississippi State, we were trying to run more wide zone and get some of that stuff going. And against a team that does so much different things, we need to get the run game back going, get our balance back. And I think today was a good start.
Larry?
Yeah, Liam, a lot's been talked about with the targets to Wandale. I think last week out of the 28 passes, 14 were targeted to Wandale. Is Will targeting him too much, or is that what you want? And with the way the offense is set up?
I think a lot of things are set up, for Wandale. I mean, he's a playmaker for us right now, but other guys did step up and make some plays. DeMarcus Harris stepped up. Tight ends had some catches. The backs had a couple catches. So it's not necessarily all set up that way. But I do think that obviously they have some chemistry, but Will feels very confident about throwing to a lot of those guys. It's just about the opportunity when it knocks, and when it comes, they're going to, we make the play if we get it protected and can do some of those things. But I definitely believe that there's a little bit more of a balance, that we need to get some of those other guys involved and let them, not maybe key in on one as much.
Thanks.
Kent Spencer?
Yeah, Liam, just to kind of play off of that, I mean, how important is Josh being back? And if he's healthy, how much does that kind of help everybody out? And have you seen enough from the other guys to trust them in situations to be able to get on the ball? Because it seems like that would open up everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that right now, getting Josh back was huge. He just gives you, calming presence of somebody who's played a ton of snaps and a guy that can make plays. I mean, him and Will, just missed right before the half on the go ball down the sidelines, which would have been a huge play before the half. And, obviously Epsy and DeMarcus stepped up. And, but after that, it's a little bit thin at the, receiver spot right now in terms of the, just the execution and the snaps and, trusting those guys to be in the right spots at the right times. And, I think getting the tight ends back involved this week a little bit will help. And, I do think that creating a little bit more balance throughout the targets can definitely help those guys.
Adam?
Hey, Liam. I know, or I get the sense that you don't want to have a lot of QB run in your offense, but it's obviously something Will has some experience with and y'all have had some success with this year. Is that something you could see maybe being involved more if you all get down the stretch? Or is that something where you just want to, a couple times a game, you don't want to really rely on that?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that if it presents on film, we'll absolutely, want to do it. Like, as you saw earlier in the year and against LSU and against Georgia and Mississippi State, the way their front structures played out, we just didn't feel as though those were great plays going into this past week. And, so if it presents, and obviously, Tennessee has played against some quarterback runs and some guys have hit some draws and some things like that against them. And Corral had a big game running the ball against them. So it's definitely something that on film, hopefully we can, take advantage of. But if it doesn't present itself against, how they're doing some things, it might not pop. But I definitely believe that we'll get back to going, just running our normal offense. The last couple of weeks, these defensive structures just don't let you do everything you want to do,
Did that 3-3-5, did that catch you by surprise at all? Was that a little bit more difficult than you thought going in?
Yeah, and not by surprise. It was more so, I knew going in we were going to have patience. And then you get into the game and we're running, I'm trying to run the ball. It wasn't like we were just throwing it all over the place, early. We were trying to run it a little bit. And, if we didn't go into the half with the interception and then they go down and take up all that clock, and we just got off balance. And that's definitely something that it can affect your whole game plan, is when you get behind and now you got to start throwing it to create some juice and momentum. And then you turn it over so quickly. Defense is on the grass for so long. You're trying to establish some drives. And at that point, it was a little bit, not over, but it was just, hey, we're in a different type of game now. So those things can happen. Obviously, that's not the plan going in, in any week.
All right, we got two more, John Wong and then Jeff Drummond. John, go ahead.
Liam, so much has been made about the pace and tempo of Tennessee's offense. Are you, generally speaking, pleased with the tempo and pace of your offense this year?
Yes. I mean, we probably don't, challenge people as much with tempo at times. I mean, we played from no huddle last week a good amount because we kind of needed to. And, the point of the offense is to be able to run plays effectively, from the huddle, but we can create some more no huddle instances. And I probably didn't do a good enough job of creating some tempo last week. We did do some tempo in the run game last week where we're going no huddle and things like that. But yeah, Tennessee plays at a different speed, and that's something that definitely challenges you as a team. But it's not anything, we're focused on us, and what we do is to try to hold the ball a little bit. Obviously, when you turn it over, you don't hold it as long as you'd like to, but that's something that we're definitely challenged with this week.
Yeah, so this is a little bit counterintuitive, but based on how quickly Tennessee plays on their side of the ball, are you saying that kind of affects how you game plan your offense?
Not affects. I wouldn't say it affects. It's just, you just have to be a little bit conscious of, taking care of the football, winning on first and second down. We did a great job on third down last week, but we didn't win on first and second down. And that's where our challenge will be this week. Will be executing on first and second down, getting into third and manageables. I think they have like something 45 plus third and 11s pluses on the year. So that's something that we cannot live in. And we need to be able to manage first and second down to sustain drives. It's not necessarily to keep their offense off the field. It's just, we need to score. We need to score points regardless. And I think that just sustaining drives, winning early downs, keeping our balance will be a huge key this week.
All right, last question, Jeff Drummond.
Hey, Liam, kind of stole my thunder there a little bit. I was going to ask you about the early downs. First down it shows you from the stats averaging 5 yards a play on first, and you were 6 of 10 on third down. Is it as simple as kind of that second down?
Yeah, this past game it was, and a few of my play calls, just weren't, fitting for a few of those situations. 2nd and 10 when you throw it, and now you're in 3rd and 10, and you got no yards off of that. The second down. So there was a few things that I obviously would love to have back from a play calling standpoint on 1st and 2nd down, but specifically those second downs is where we didn't do enough to put ourselves in, situations to just get first down again. We had some 2nd and long, 2nd and mediums that we didn't convert on for whatever reason, whether it be play calling, execution, anything that put us in a lot of 3rd down. So yeah, 1st and 3rd down, we were solid on, but our 2nd down, execution and play calling wasn't good enough.